The Galaxy Council chamber had never been silent. Even in the worst of wars, even in the bleakest of universal disputes, there was always a hum, voices layered atop one another, the sound of species negotiating, arguing, thriving. But today, the chamber felt like a tomb dot at the center of the room. A hologram rotated slowly, a single blue planet, Earth. The alarms were still echoing in the polished obsidian walls when the old arbiter finally spoke. His voice, normally steady, carried a tremor. "Confirm it," he said. Again, a smaller, bird-like delegate bowed its head and tapped its crystalline interface. The hologram zoomed in. Dozens -no. Hundreds of red markers swarmed toward Earth from the void. Unidentified fleet approaching at relativistic speed, the delegate croaked. Their formation suggests coordinated assault. Estimated contact, 90 minutes. A ripple of fear spread through the chamber. Not because they cared about Earth. They feared the ones invading it. Far away, on the quiet surface of that blue planet, nobody had noticed yet. Arya Patel was halfway through her shift at the Horizon Listening Station, a deep space monitoring outpost tucked into a mountain range. When her console lit up like a dying star, she blinked. That wasn't normal. Her screens began to populate with readings, mass displacement signatures, gravitational ripples, exotic particle wakes. Something enormous was coming. Arya leaned forward, typing rapidly, rerunning the analysis twice just to be sure. She'd dealt with false positives before. Data glitches, cosmic noise, sensor anomalies caused by solar flares. But this wasn't noise. This was a fleet. Control, she said into her mic. Static. Then a voice answered, slow and weary. Horizon Station, this is Central. What did you find? Arya stared at the numbers again. She could barely breathe. I need a verification team, she said. Right now. I'm seeing signatures equivalent to. She hesitated. She didn't want to say it. A planetary siege force. Central went silent. Then, Horizon, repeat. Did you say a siege force? Arya swallowed. Yes, and not from our system. She waited for the laughter, the disbelief, the reprimand. Instead, the line went dead. Control had disconnected. The fear began to rise in her chest. Meanwhile, high above the galaxy, panic was spreading like wildfire among species far more advanced than humans. Humans were new to the interstellar stage, careless, curious, too young to be dangerous, and too stubborn to be predictable. The Council kept them at a distance, a species deemed fragile, unaligned, and largely unimportant. But the invaders, they were something else entirely. A reptilian delegate slammed its claws onto the table. Why Earth? It hissed. Why that insignificant world? No one answered. Because they all knew Earth wasn't the target. Earth was the warning. The invaders wanted the Council to watch. They wanted a message delivered. The Arbiter exhaled slowly. We cannot interfere, not yet. Protocol forbids engagement with an active invasion on a non-aligned world. A dozen delegates shouted in protest. Protocol? We speak of extinction. We must act. They will annihilate the humans. The Arbiter stared at the hologram of Earth, glowing softly beneath the incoming swarm. We can only observe, he said. The chamber fell into horrified silence. On Earth, Arya ran outside the station, breath fogging in the cold night air. The sky looked normal. The forests below were peaceful. The mountains were silent. The stars shimmered gently. Unaware that death was racing toward them, Arya tilted her head back, made a silent wish to be wrong. Then she saw it, a faint line of silver in the sky like a scratch across the darkness. Then another, and another. Dozens. Hundreds. As if the night itself was tearing open. Her pulse hammered. Dear God, she whispered. The invasion had begun, and somewhere far above, the Galaxy Council watched helplessly, frozen with the same terror humans would soon feel. Earth was no longer quiet. The universe had turned its gaze upon it. The first streaks of light were silent. They cut across the night sky like silver blades, shimmering against the darkness as if someone had sliced open the heavens. Arya stood frozen outside the Horizon Station, the cold air burning her lungs. She had expected noise, thunder, explosions, sonic booms, something, but the sky fell in silence. Then the sound came all at once, a deep, unnatural rumble, like the growl of a wounded planet. Her knees weakened beneath her as multiple objects the size of cities decelerated. Through the upper atmosphere, vapor trailing behind them like comet tails. She forced her trembling hands toward her calm device. This is Horizon Station to Central. She whispered, "They're here, static. Then, Horizon. Evacuate. Now, repeat, evacuate." The transmission cut off in a burst of static that made Arya flinch. Her breath caught whatever was coming. It was powerful enough to disrupt Earth's communication grids. She stumbled back into the station. Inside, lights flickered. Consoles crackled. The facility groaned as if the mountain itself was afraid. Arya slammed her hand onto the emergency power panel. Dim red lights came alive. Arya opened a secure channel, one she wasn't supposed to use. "Civilian emergency relay. This is Horizon Station," she said, voice wavering. "An unidentified fleet has entered Earth's atmosphere. Repeat, Earth is under attack. If anyone receives this, alert the defense network. Alert." The mountain shook. Arya dropped to the floor as equipment crashed around her. From outside came a sound so loud it felt like the air itself was being torn apart. She scrambled back outside and saw it. One of the alien vessels, monolithic, black as obsidian, larger than any man-made structure, descended over the tree line. It didn't fly. It drifted, as if gravity bent to its will. Arya's heartbeat slowed. She felt small, fragile, the way a mouse might feel staring up at a hawk. Hovering beneath the vessel, like floating lanterns, were hundreds of smaller craft, organic-looking, glowing with pulsating veins of crimson light. They weren't here to explore. They weren't here to communicate. They were positioning themselves. Arya backed away, breath turning shallow. She needed to run, to hide, to survive long enough to warn someone, anyone. But her legs wouldn't move, not until she heard a strange sound, soft, rhythmic, pulsing like a heartbeat. It came from the alien vessel, and the entire sky seemed to vibrate. Far above Earth, the Galaxy Council watched in paralyzed disbelief. The hologram of Earth now displayed the massive invasion fleet, every ship marked in red. Their outer hulls shimmered with dark symbols no one could interpret. "What are they doing?" a delegate whispered, positioning themselves around the magnetic poles. "Why the poles?" "Because that is where planetary defenses are weakest." Gasps spread across the chamber. The Arbiter clenched his jaw. This is not a conquest. They are performing a demonstration. A demonstration of what? Power. The bird-like delegate trembled, feathers puffing. "And we can only watch. Intervention would trigger a war the Council is not prepared to face," the Arbiter said quietly. "We cannot stop them." The chamber dimmed as the invaders released the first wave of energy signatures. The Council watched in horror. Helpless. On Earth, Arya finally moved. She ran. Branches whipped against her arms as she sprinted down the mountain path, breath sharp and desperate. The rumbling from the vessel grew stronger, like a storm gathering above her. She glanced back. The enormous ship shifted, its underside peeled open like a mechanical flower, revealing a glowing sphere of swirling red and white energy. The smaller craft arranged themselves around it in perfect geometric formation. And then the world turned white. Arya threw herself behind a boulder. A beam of energy shot downward, hitting the ground with terrifying precision, yet no explosion followed. Instead, the ground seemed to fold inward, swallowed by a sphere of shimmering distortion. Arya watched, trembling, as an entire section of the forest, trees, rocks, soil vanished without a trace, not burned, not vaporized, erased. "A weapon," Arya whispered. "They're erasing the land." Her stomach dropped. If they continued, they wouldn't just kill people, they would delete the planet. Arya's comm beeped weakly. A broken voice came through central control, barely recognizable. "Horizon, if you're still alive, listen carefully. Static. Then, they're not here to invade. They're here because of something we activated. Something buried. Something older than civilization." Arya's eyes widened. "What did we activate?" she whispered. But the calm fell silent. Above her, the alien fleet shifted again, and Earth began to tremble. The tremors intensified as Arya clung to a jagged outcrop of rock, her pulse thundering. Dust rained down from the mountain cliffs. Birds screamed overhead, scattering in frantic patterns. The alien fleet's formations shifted like a dark constellation rearranging itself with purpose. Whatever they were doing, it wasn't random. It was coordinated. Deliberate. And focused on Earth. Arya swallowed hard as her calm sparked again. A faint voice crackled through, broken, distorted, but unmistakably human. Horizon. You must listen. This is Central Command. Arya pressed the device close to her ear. I'm here. I'm here. Tell me what's happening. Static swallowed the words for several heartbeats before a clearer fragment emerged. It's the signal. The deep core broadcast. Arya stiffened. She knew that project. Everyone in Horizon Station did. It had been classified for decades. A transmission sent deep into Earth's crust using experimental resonance rays. No one knew who authorized it. No one knew who designed the signal. But it had been activated 3 days ago, and now an alien fleet was hovering over her planet. Arya's voice trembled. Are you saying we triggered this? A heavy pause. Then, we woke something up. Arya's breath hitched. That's why they're here. The voice continued. Not to conquer us. They're trying to stop what's inside Earth. They're trying to seal it before it. A deafening crack tore across the mountain. Arya flinched, and the comm cut off permanently. The ground beneath her lurched. For a moment she thought it was another energy beam, another erasure wave. But this tremor felt different. It wasn't coming from the ships. It was coming from below. From the Earth. Arya slowly turned toward the valley, and what she saw made her legs buckle. The ground in the center of the valley was rising, a dome of earth, stone, and ancient material pushed upward like something massive was trying to crawl its way out, or break free from a long imprisonment. The alien fleet immediately responded. Every smaller craft tilted downward, pulsing red like synchronized heartbeats. The enormous mothership dimmed its lights. Arya could almost feel the tension in the air, like all of them were holding their breath. She whispered, "What have we done?" But no one answered. Far above, the Galaxy Council chamber was chaos. Delegates shouted over one another, some terrified, some furious, some demanding immediate evacuation of their border worlds. They warned us this might happen. A deep-voiced aquatic being roared. We thought it was myth. A crystalline diplomat responded, their body glowing with stress fractures. The Arbiter lifted a shaking hand. Silence. The chamber obeyed. The hologram zoomed in on Earth, specifically the distortion blooming within the valley. Inside it flickered unfamiliar symbols, patterns that predated modern galactic languages. The Arbiter's voice dropped to a whisper. It's not the humans they fear. It's what sleeps beneath them. A young delegate trembled. We believed that creature was destroyed thousands of cycles ago. It wasn't, the Arbiter said. It was sealed. The chamber chilled. And Earth, he added, was the seal. The council stared at him in horror. No. Someone whispered. No, they wouldn't have placed something that powerful on a primitive world. They did, the Arbiter said, because no one would ever look there. The council watched. The seal weaken on the hologram. They watched Earth begin to wake something. Ancient. Something cosmic. Something the invaders were desperately trying to contain. And the worst part, they were failing. Arya stared at the rising dome of Earth as cracks veined across its surface. Blue light glowed from within. It pulsed in a slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. Her skin prickled. Her instinct screamed at her to run, but her legs were rooted to the spot. She was watching a truth that no human was ever meant to see. A truth buried beneath myth and evolution and time. Her voice trembled. This isn't an invasion. She looked at the sky. It's a rescue. Another tremor shook the valley. The dome split open. Blinding blue light poured out. Arya shielded her eyes. Something vast, massive, beyond human comprehension shifted beneath the crust. She could feel its presence like a pressure against her mind. Heavy and ancient and overwhelming. The alien fleet reacted instantly. A coordinated barrage of containment beams lanced downward, forming a shimmering cage of red and white energy around the awakening force. The dome shook violently, pushing back. Arya stumbled backward, heart pounding. She didn't know what was rising. She didn't know what Earth had been built upon. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever was waking up was never meant to wake. The valley glowed like a second sun. Blue-white light poured from the widening cracks, each pulse stronger than the last. Arya stumbled backward until her spine hit a tree. The air itself vibrated, humming, trembling, warping like reality was being stretched too far. The alien containment beams struggled to hold their shape. Their once perfect geometries flickered. Some wavered, bending under invisible pressure. Others dimmed entirely, unable to withstand the force rising from beneath the earth. Arya swallowed hard. The thing beneath them wasn't emerging, it was remembering. As the dome cracked apart fully, an enormous structure, a body began to unfurl. Limbs of pure astral energy extended outward, neither solid nor liquid nor light. It moved like a creature, half born from a star and half trapped in a dream. Arya's voice shook. "What are you?" The ground trembled again, almost as if responding, and then it opened its eyes. Two orbs of blinding cerulean light snapped into existence within the luminous mass. They weren't physical eyes, but they were looking, searching. Arya felt the gaze slide over her, ancient, curious, indifferent, the way a cosmic being might glance at a grain of sand. She clamped a hand over her mouth to keep from screaming. Above her, the alien fleet surged into frantic action. The smaller vessels repositioned themselves, weaving together streams of energy until a massive lattice of red, white, and violet light formed over the valley. The mothership dimmed, concentrating everything it had into the pulsating sphere beneath its hull. This wasn't aggression. This was desperation. Arya finally understood. "They're not attacking Earth," she whispered. "They're trying to force it back down." But the ancient thing, whatever it was, had no intention of returning. Its form expanded again, brushing against the containment lattice. Sparks erupted where the energies collided, reality distorting with every attempt to confine it. The creature stretched first as a sphere, then as a pillar, then something else entirely, changing shape as if testing the limitations of its cage. Arya backed away from the edge, choking on her breath. She had to get to higher ground. She had to make it out alive. But then the creature spoke, not with sound, not with language, with thought. Arya felt it slam into her mind like a tidal wave. A voice that wasn't a voice, a weight older than planets, a memory that didn't belong to her. A surge of color, emotion, pressure. "You are not the ones who bound me." Arya dropped to her knees, clutching her head. Her vision blurred. The world became fragments of light and sound. She saw flashes of ancient worlds, dead suns, civilizations that crumbled into cosmic dust. But what terrified her most was the creature's next whisper. "You are too fragile to bear what comes." Her chest tightened. I don't understand," she gasped aloud. But the creature wasn't talking to her anymore. All around her, the alien fleet's weapons flared as the being pushed harder against the containment lattice. The beams cracked like glass under pressure. Several smaller ships lost stability, spiraling downward before correcting course. Arya looked up. The mothership pulsed once dim, tired, wavering. "They're losing," she whispered. Far above, in the Galaxy Council chamber, panic turned into dread. The hologram showed the containment grid collapsing section by section. Delegates shouted, screamed, pleaded for emergency intervention. The Arbiter watched in haunted silence. A junior representative's voice shook with fear. "If the seal breaks, it will regain its full form." Another delegate whispered, "It will erase everything. It won't be an attack, it will be cleansing." The chamber fell silent. The Arbiter closed his eyes. "We feared the humans. We feared their unpredictability, their chaos. But it was never the humans. It was what they were built on top of." He turned to the council. "And now the seal is failing." Back in the valley, Arya forced herself onto shaky feet. The creature rose higher, towering above the trees, its luminous body bending the air around it. Every pulse of its energy sent shockwaves rippling through the mountain. Then it did something that shattered Arya's last sliver of hope. It looked at the sky, and it recognized the fleet, restraining it. The valley trembled. The creature's energy swelled too bright to look at, too powerful to measure. The alien vessels fired their containment beams again. But the creature didn't flinch. Instead, it reached up. One massive tendril of cosmic energy extended toward the nearest alien ship. The containment lattice shattered. Arya screamed. The ship didn't explode, it simply vanished, erased, eradicated from existence like a thought, forgotten. The creature pulsed again. It was awake now, fully. And Nothing in the sky could stop it. The alien ship blinked out of existence so cleanly, so instantly, that Arya's mind struggled to accept what she'd witnessed. One heartbeat it had been there, massive, humming, radiant, and in the next, the sky simply forgot it. Her knees buckled. She hit the ground hard, dirt scraping her palms, but she barely felt it. Her eyes were fixed upward on the towering being of light now rising fully from the valley. Its form had stabilized from chaotic, shifting geometry into something that resembled a colossal figure made of stardust and memory. Its skin was woven from blue nebulae, its veins streaks of white cosmic fire. Behind it, the air shimmered like the heat beneath a sun. Arya had never felt so small. Above, the alien fleet scrambled, but she could see it clearly now. They were no longer trying to contain the being. They were trying to survive it. The remaining smaller ships sped backward, increasing distance, formation, and shielding. The mothership strained. Its lights flickered, its hull groaned under the pressure radiating from the awakened entity. Arya pressed herself against the ground, trembling. "I need to move. I need to hide," she whispered. But where could she go? There was no shelter from something like this. The creature tilted its head a slow, deliberate motion as though awakening from a dream and reacquainting itself with reality. Its eyes, those twin abysses of ancient light, swept across the valley. They landed on Arya, and the world froze. Her breath locked in her chest. Every sound vanished. Her heart seemed to forget how to beat. A voice, not a voice, but a thought that shook the mountain, echoed through her mind. "You are not the makers." Arya shuddered. "I don't know what you mean. You are the later ones, the soft ones, the temporary ones." The creature's thoughts pressed into her skull with unbearable weight. She felt ages pass through her, civilizations built and destroyed, galaxies born and swallowed. A cosmic cycle she was not meant to witness. She tasted eternity and nearly fainted. "The makers bound me. You broke the seal. I didn't mean to," she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. "We didn't know. No one knew." The creature paused. A strange, almost curious energy rippled through it. "Yet you heard the call." Arya blinked. "The call. The makers hid the lock in your mind shapes. Only your kind could open it." Her skin crawled. Humanity, weak, small, fragile humanity, had unknowingly carried the key to a cosmic prison inside themselves. Arya whispered, horrified. "So we doomed ourselves." The creature's voice softened. Barely. "No. You are irrelevant." Arya's heart cracked a little at that. But before she could speak, something changed. The alien mothership fired a signal, bright, sharp, harmonic. Arya didn't understand it, but the creature did. It turned its attention skyward. The signal wasn't an attack. It was a plea, a desperate one. The creature drifted upward, rising above the valley, its colossal form piercing the cloud layer. Lightning spiraled around it, though no storm existed. The alien fleet backed away until only the mothership remained close enough to communicate. Arya watched in breathless awe. A single beam of white gold energy shot from the mothership toward the creature, not a weapon, but a memory stream. Images flickered in the sky like ripples of living light. Ancient wars, the shattering of worlds, the creature rampaging across systems, the makers binding it beneath an infant earth. The promise, if it wakes again, we will all fall. The creature stilled, its light dimmed. For the first time, it looked uncertain. Arya wiped her tears. "Please, please don't destroy us." The creature turned toward her again, and something shifted. Its vast, burning eyes softened slightly, like to suns exhaling. "You are small, but you are not the makers. You bear nitrogen monoxide blame." The valley trembled under its next whisper. Sleep would break again. Only non-existence would prevent what comes. Arya's stomach dropped. No, please. But the being wasn't talking about humans. It was talking about itself. It lifted its luminous arms. Reality twisted. Space folded. Energy crackled like thunder in slow motion. The entire sky went white. Arya screamed, not in pain, but in awe, as the creature poured its essence upward into a self-made singularity, a collapsing star of its own design. The mothership retreated. Desperately, the smaller ships fled, and the creature, older than time, powerful enough to erase civilizations, chose to erase itself. Instead, the sky collapsed inward with a deafening silence. then a soft wind, a beam of fading blue light, and nothing. The creature was gone. The alien fleet lingered at a safe distance, scanning, confirming, mourning, or perhaps celebrating. Arya couldn't tell, but she knew one thing: Earth had not been invaded. Earth had been saved. Not by the Galaxy Council, not by humans, not even by the alien fleet. It was saved because the universe's oldest monster chose mercy. Arya sank to the ground, exhausted. The sun began to rise over the horizon, and the galaxy, watching in stunned silence, finally exhaled.